In this Flow 360 tutorial, we're going to look at the basics of using filter panels to find subsets of records. And in order to do that, we're going to use as our first example the list of help desk issues in our demo. At the top right of the list, you will see the Find button. Clicking that button will launch the filter panel. The filter panel contents will vary depending on the objects you are currently looking at. So for help desk issues, the panels look like this, whereas for sites or assets or tasks or works, it will look different. You will get different options. In this case, we actually have 4 separate tabs that we can look at for finding a set of help desk issues. But let's look at the General tab first of all. At the top, we have some date options. So for a simple search, I might be interested in finding all issues that were created during the past 1 month. So let's just run that first of all. I click the Find button and I find a small number, in this case 6, records that were created in the past month. Let's click our Find button again and do something a little bit different. In the date options, we can actually look for not just when issues were created, when they were raised, which is often the same but not always, the target date that is set for resolution, or the date when work started, or the date when the issue was closed. So let's look at target dates, and I want to find target dates within the next 3 months. And again, we click the button there to find those specific records. Whenever you perform a search, the panel at the top of the list will confirm the criteria that you set in the filter panel, and that's a useful reference to remind yourself how you got to this particular subset of records. There's another trick to using the date options in the filter panels that I'd like to show you. By default, you have some drop-down selectors here for next and past, and then you can specify months or days, weeks, years, even hours, minutes. Sometimes though it's useful just to be able to specify exactly the date and time that you're looking for. And if you click this little button here, the change options for the date options, it switches from allowing you to select a range to allowing you to select a start and end date and time. And you can see by default it's put in the current date and time from midnight to midnight effectively. And that's a very useful shortcut because it allows you very quickly to set the filter panel to find things that were created or changed in some way during the current 24-hour period. This quick switch date option is available to you whenever you see a filter panel that has some date options there. So don't forget, you can always switch from specific dates and times to selecting a range such as next 3 months, past week, and so on, simply by clicking this little button next to the date options and features of the filter panel. No matter what set of records you're currently looking at filtering, you will have 1 or more tabs here, and you can combine any of the criteria on any or all of the tabs. So for example here, when we're looking at help desk issues, we could look for issues that are in progress. We could then go to the category tab and then say, but the ones we want are electrical only. We can then go further and say we're also only interested in those issues that are to do with the boarding houses. And we could even run that further and say we're only interested in issues that belong to or have been assigned to a specific cost center, or indeed finding those that have not been assigned at all to a cost center or account or charge account. So you can combine any of the criteria on any or all of the tabs, and when you execute the find, it will put all of those criteria together and find you all of the records that match on all of the criteria that you've set. The reset button that you can see here on each individual tab will just reset that one tab. So if I tap on Reset here, it just clears the criteria from the Resource tab, but leaves the other tabs alone. So Electrical is still set on the Category tab. The Reset All button, top right, does exactly what it says. It simply resets all of the tabs back to empty, effectively no criteria added at all. The button top left here will show red as soon as you set any criteria on any of the panels. So if we select Electrical as the work type, that button goes to red. That means we can now execute the search and it will find all electrical issues. If I click the Reset All button, that button goes back to black, showing that basically no criteria have yet been set up. There's no search to execute. One last thing I want to show you as a general principle when using the filter panels is this control at the top here, that by default says Option Normal. Now Normal is simply a new standard search. So if I set on Help Desk Issues here, I set to In Progress and I click the Find button, it finds me all issues that are currently in progress. Fine. Let's go back to the filter panel and see what happens now if I choose to extend this set. Now Extend will keep the set of records that you've already found and it will add the results of the second search to them. So having found all of those records that are in progress, let me also find records that are currently open. And if I click the Find Now, I will then end up with a list, as you can see, which is a mix of open issues and in progress issues. Remember again this panel at the top here, which confirms what criteria were used to arrive at the set of records you're currently viewing. In this case, we can see we started with looking for records that were in progress, and we found 105 of them. And then we extended that set by records that have the status of open, and now we have 328 records listed. So that is the Extend option. I'm now going to run a reduce search on that. And the reduce search keeps the found set that you're looking at and then reduces it to find just records that match a new set of criteria. So if I reduce this now, remember we've looked so far for a combination of in progress and open issues. Now I want to reduce that down to those that relate to a particular building only. So let's go to main building of the main school and we'll click on that now. And now we've reduced that set down, and look again at what's happened to the criteria at the top here. This is where we got to before, 328 records. We've now reduced that by looking for specifically those records that belong just to main building, and now we are showing 271 records. So the extend and reduce options allow you to keep a set and expand it with another matching set of records, or keep the current set and reduce it with a new set of criteria. They are all very powerful ways of helping you to quickly find and isolate the set of records that you're interested in, and those options are generally common no matter which part of Flow 360, which area of the solution you're currently working with. So we've had a look at how to trigger the filter panel by using the Find button at the top of the Help Desk Issues list. Let's just see where else we can get at those filter panels. I'm going to go back to our Start screen and go to the Sites list, and again you can see the same Find button at the top. But if I go to King's College and we look, say, at some of the tab lists, in this case let's look at the tab that's showing the subsections of the site, then we also have a little Find button. It's the same icon, it's just a smaller button on the tab list itself, and if I click on that button on the Sections tab list, then I get the filter criteria options for filtering the sections of the site. If I go to the Tasks tab, then again I have a Find button, and if I click on that, then I get the Tasks filter options, and you can see how the filter panel contents change depending on what set of records you're currently working with. So those are the two places generally you will find the filter panel button. It's here on a tab list, or if you're looking at a full list, then it's the top button that says Find on it. Hopefully that's given you now a good feel for how to use the filter panels for finding specific subsets of records or individual records, no matter where you are in Flow 360.